All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Principal Aaron Boyle Folino over at St. Ferdinand School on the near Northwest Side. I hope any parents who are watching are doing well. This finds everybody feeling healthy and safe. I just decided that we're going to do a town hall meeting through Facebook Live because we had a really good town hall meeting last week. Parents had good questions. It all went pretty smoothly. And then when it came time to change it to a file to share with everybody, my laptop crashed, and with it, that file. So here we are. We're going to go over some of the questions that we did last week, and then I've received a few new ones in the past couple days as well. So we're going to talk about those things. A little bit of information has changed, or we've gotten more specifics about things. So the goal is that as soon as I'm done with this presentation, it'll be here on Facebook. You can access through Facebook or through our website anytime to look back on. And hopefully we will do a couple more of these as the weeks go on with further questions, and for sure a lot of Facebook Live, breaking into as we get the school ready to showing you images so that the kids know what everything looks like under the new guidelines. So before we begin talking about any of those things, we will start with a prayer. And I still think that the best prayer right now is the Serenity Prayer. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, so once again, thank you for tuning in. And also, even though I'm looking at questions that were given last week and through email the past couple days, we will also accept questions during this. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them into the comments below. And at the end, Miss Margaret is across the room from me here. This is my office. And she will hand me any other questions you would like answered. Okay, and we will do them that way. So, just wanted to let you know that, as I'm sure you've read the whole document that was sent out to parents, the question and answer, the 3-page summary. We on staff have a 23-page document that has all the specifics of everything we need to put in place, all the new protocol to make St. Ferdinand School as healthy and safe as possible and still allow quality learning to take place in person. So we are doing everything that we possibly can, and every decision about that does weigh heavily with me. So keep in mind that everything that we do here, the faculty and staff and I, truly are doing what we think is best and making sure that we follow all the guidelines to a T. Just as a preface to this, we have to establish an academic committee as well as a health and safety committee. The health and safety committee are all the maintenance people here, and father and brother, Miss Margaret and I, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Mario Rodriguez. We had to have some parent involvement on that as well. So believe me, we've had some trainings. We've got a bunch of guidelines, and we have to make sure everything's in place, like the signage and the spacing out of the desks. And we have a whole checklist that has to be approved by the Arch before we can open. And everything is well underway with that. We also have an academic committee, and that is comprised of teachers from all the different grade levels and myself. And we are just making sure that our curriculum is good to go, especially if we should have to switch suddenly to distance learning, all right, and what that would look like, and how we will try to make it look as much as possible like a regular day in the classroom. So that committee is also busy with training and meeting and that sort of thing. All the teachers are working on mapping out our ELA, that's our English Language Arts, reading, curricula, as well as math and religion. Okay, all those things have to be fully mapped out for the year. Of course, it's important that all subjects have a mapping of where they're going, but this definitely ensures that we have planned for the whole year, whether we're in person or distance, that we know what we're going to be covering and that we're hitting the benchmarks laid out as most important for kids to learn by the Archdiocese. So all that is taking place. And finally, what I really want to stress before going into questions is that, honestly, the St. Ferdinand campus is the most ideal for something like this, where we have to spread out and we're encouraged to go outside and all of that. It's a big, beautiful building, right? There used to be hundreds and hundreds of kids here. So the buildings, the old classroom the old wing has big spacious rooms, and some of them are double rooms. That's going to be perfect for spreading out our bigger classes. We had empty rooms that we are utilizing as well to space kids out. We have lots of outdoor space, as we will be encouraged to take the kids out often. And we have small class sizes. That is really a plus, right? And the kids can still be together, yet distanced. And on top of all that, we have a wonderful faculty, right? Rest assured that everybody here is taking all of these precautions to heart and really do care. They are concerned as well about the uncertainty of, the whole situation, but everybody has your children at the forefront of our minds and hearts. All right, so with that, I'll go over some of the questions from before. I kind of grouped them this time. And then, all right, so the first thing was about the cohorts. How are the cohorts determined? In brief, a cohort for our school is basically your homeroom, your child's homeroom. So they will still be with the kids that they have been growing up with, that they're used to. Our smallest class size is 10 altogether with the 2 preschools, and our largest is only 22, all right, with 4th grade. So our classes are all small, but that's who their group is. So rest assured that they are still mixed with kids of all levels and still as a group with their friends, as distant as they have to be. That's what a cohort is for our school. Those can get as big, as 30 or 35. With us, they wouldn't. If we ever hit the number under 30, I would have to hire another teacher and split up a group. So rest assured that that's being kept in mind too. The small class sizes and the familiarity with the students are all important with that. We also had questions before on our funds and enrollment. Our current enrollment is 150 students, and last year it was like 178 at its biggest, but we did lose that 8th grade, which was a larger group, and we are working all the time with marketing. And we've even had today, someone came in from the public schools wondering about our program and looking very seriously into it, so that's exciting. We do continue to get new families. We've given a couple tours, and we continue to accept people, but we will make sure we have a cap of about 25 kids in each so that we do guarantee our safe social distancing. The financial status of the school, we did end last year without any debt, and that is thankfully people paid their tuition and fulfilled their contracts with it for the most part. We're just out a couple families that are still being pursued, but for the rest of you, thank you so much for continuing to honor your contracts. That's what keeps us afloat. If we have people in here in our building paying their tuition, and then we do get a lot of support from outside scholarships, that keeps us afloat as well. We did get the PPP loan. You've probably heard a lot about that for small businesses. That helped keep our payroll afloat in the spring, and it's ending now. And that can only be used toward payroll and utilities. So just so you know, that's not something we can use to improve the school. But we did get also some money from the CARES Act. It's called the ESSER funds, and we received money to help us make sure that all of our social distancing is, and everything that we have to do, is put into place. Like, we can use that money. We're getting a new online curriculum for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders for science, and it helps with our cleaning. We had to purchase a $4,000 box of basically the first 2 months of cleaning supplies from the Archdiocese. They're giving us everything, plus all the stickers for the walls to direct traffic. It's just a very complete package. Extra masks. So all that funds we just got from the Chicago Public Schools is being used thoughtfully to make sure that we put everything into place for a better school, a better, safe school as we head into opening. Fundraising, we are working on that with our marketer and our operations director and trying to brainstorm ideas. It's so strange this year because everything has to be virtual basically, right? So we're brainstorming ideas, and anything that any of you come up with, hey, send them our way too. We definitely need to raise funds. We did do that, the Footnet for FERDS, first responders, and the food pantry that many people participated in. It raised $1,500, which we had to divide among the food pantry and the first responders children's organization, and then about $500 some for our school as well. So maybe we can even do that again with the different cohorts out there running, and maybe in the fall as well, because I think we would even get more participation once we were all, as we will be soon, once we're all here and ready to amp it up in person and making it part of our school day. See? All right, how can parents help? The main thing, in my opinion, is being positive about all this. Even if, if you're feeling, of course, I'm a parent too, apprehensive about the return to school, or if you're not happy with some of the decisions, I would hope that you would keep those comments, among your significant other and yourself when the kids are not listening, or if you need to text your friend, about this, I can't believe this is going on, but to the kids, just keep it as positive as possible that, yeah, it's strange, we're all wearing masks, but this is for the health of our whole society. We just need to keep our masks on. You're going to keep your friends healthy. You're going to keep yourself healthy. And this is just what we're doing, this year. And it won't seem so strange to them. And we've talked about before, Miss Margaret and I had made a little video about putting masks on, getting the kids used to the masks, finding masks that they liked. We were also asking, don't get ones that tie, please, or get the elastic ones. So many fun designs out there. And have a few of them, or the disposable ones, right? You're going to have a few of those handy because they will be required to wear them whenever they are in the building. We'll talk a little bit more about that. The teachers had expressed, if your kids don't know how to tie shoes, look into getting the Velcro shoes, because that's a lot of, if they always had to tie their shoes, that's a lot of them getting close to your children, and they should do that as least often as possible. So, things like that. There was a video we released from Yesenia Maldonado from the Archdiocese on social emotional learning, and, I think that was basically her gist, too, of keeping things positive and talking with your kids about this. Hey, are you nervous about going back to school? Are you excited? What's going to be good about that? What's going to be different? Basically having that dialogue. All of that will help. And, of course, the school supply list, that's in your family packet. It's going to be really important that your child has all his or her supplies, and we're going to make sure we have a notice if your child doesn't, and a little stash in the office, because it's so different from other years. If they're missing a pencil, they just can't turn to their neighbor and get a pencil or crayon. They really have to have their own stuff. So it's going to be important to stay on top of that throughout the year. So those are all ways right now, that you could really help as we're getting closer, about a month to go before school starts. Next category, masks. They are required to wear them while they're in school. Will there be breaks? Yes, like when they eat lunch. We are encouraged by the Arch to get the kids outside as much as possible. And so that means, teachers are already starting to think, how can they take the kids outside? Thankfully, we've got so many different areas they could be, whether it's the Pope Courtyard or the little grassy area in front of my office here. Areas of the parking lot big enough for different groups to be at. So yeah, they will get breaks when they're outside as long as they are keeping about 6 feet apart. Of course, recess every day will be a time for them. Again, if it's a group of kids, I just want to talk to my friend, then yeah, they'll have to wear their mask. You may have read in your sheets that masks will be stored in paper bags, and yeah, we're still figuring out how they would bring the paper bag to recess and all of that, since they should be wearing it in the hall as they get there and that sort of thing. But the idea of a paper bag is because it is a porous material and that just lets the air circulate. Some parents have asked about containers. Again, we're going to go with paper bags. We're not hanging them up in the classroom. We're not putting them in plastic containers. If you yourself want your child to have a plastic container that you can wash every night, we won't say no to that, but we're just following protocol as best determined right now with those masks. Thankfully, we are an air-conditioned school. My own daughter attends a Catholic school that is not air-conditioned, and they're still going to have to wear masks. And it's concerning, right, to me. But here, they're at least in air that they can breathe and that sort of thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about air conditioning in a couple questions down. E-learning, big topic, e-learning. And this has even changed a little bit since last week. There are different options, for e-learning. Of course, we hope everybody will be back in class here, and we'll be making sure that we follow all the directives. But if you do not opt for that, what the Archdiocese had released was that they will do e-learning through a third-party option. We have since found out since last week that the third-party option is a company called Catapult. They are well known in the education field. We do get our title teacher through Catapult. We had some professional development through them as well, the teachers did. So they are a reputable company. and they will have not the same curriculum, but they will still have, if your child's a third grader, they'll have a third grade curriculum and that kind of thing. So that means that they would have to enroll in that for at least a trimester. It's not something that you can go in and out of, but they would enroll for a trimester at a time. Like maybe at the beginning of the year, you're just not sure. But the deal is you still pay your tuition to St. Ferdinand, and then you get to this catapult class, and we will still offer in that option religion class. And we're still trying to figure out how that will work, but it'll be probably every other day. Your child's religion teacher, which for most of you is the beloved Sister Agnes, will come on and talk like at least every other day, and otherwise there will be assignments, of course, to do. And we're really hoping, if you choose that option, that we could also have some kind of community, touching base with the community, if just, it might just be the homeroom teacher, but hopefully with the kids as well. Now, what has come out of that, we've had a handful of parents ask me about it, and across the arch, is that a lot of parents wish there was a happy medium of the two, in that, if your child is sick or in quarantine, can they just, can they get their lessons Zoomed if they're not feeling well? Can they watch recordings of the Zooms? And at first, we were told that that was illegal and would not be allowed. And now it seems the Arch is looking at that policy again. And I personally would be thrilled if they did rescind that, because I know I've had a couple parents say, I just want my child to still have the St. Ferdinand teachers. What can you do for us about this? I still want them to feel part of their class till this is over and they can come back, especially if your child has health issues, right? And you just can't send them back right now. So I do hear you on that, and I do, it weighs heavily on me. I wish that this, that they would just say, okay, with waivers, you can Zoom, stay tuned with that. If there is, then that'll be the option that'll happen if your child is home for 2 weeks or less, whether they're quarantined or whether they're just, not feeling well and they want to Zoom, here and there, and maybe touch base with the teachers like once a day. That's something the academic team and I were just discussing today. How would we do this? We basically have to find out if it's going to be legal for our school to do that, to tape or, have some kind of live stream and then touching base with the kids. I think that would be an excellent, viable option for people, but we have to stay tuned until we know. And it really is asking, know too that the teachers, it's an extra step for them. But I think for the most part, they are pretty willing, right? We don't want to lose families, we don't. And we want everybody to still feel part. And if the catapult option doesn't seem like something you want to do, then hopefully this will work. And as soon as we know more about that, we will let you know how that will work too. But I think that really could be a way of doing the e-learning. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Quarantine. Big question about quarantine, if children are sick. So if a kid, well, first of all, the routine will be that every child will have their temperature taken with the touchless thermometer as they come in. We won't all be coming in the one door like we did. We'll be using 3 entrances along Mason. More specifics on that as we get closer. And then I'll be one of the people that's there. Oh, sorry, my phone was showing it wasn't connecting. I hope we're still live. Having technical difficulties. Right, well, connect. All right, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Just once in a while it tells me that message. I think I was talking about thermometers.
Oh, you're still live.
Yeah, but it was just saying reconnecting. Hello, Miss Margaret. All right. So they'll have their temperature taken, and they're asked questions like, did anybody give you Tylenol today? Do you feel okay? Do you have a cough? That sort of thing. And if they say yes, or the temperature registers 100.4, then we send them right to our office, and the office will put them in. We are creating an infirmary. We'll talk about that, and you will be called to pick them up and to make a doctor's appointment. And hopefully the doctor can get you in within a couple days. Your child should just, of course, rest. And we'll see if it's COVID. They will have a test or not. Let's see. So then in that case, if your child tests positive for COVID, then they are required to be home, quarantined for 14 days. and there should be, before they come back, it should be 14 days from that first symptom day, and fever should have been gone for 3 days, and then a 75% reduction in symptoms, like 75% less coughing and that sort of thing. So yeah, if your child doesn't, if it's negative for COVID, there's so many other illnesses that they could have, they would need to stay home too, just till symptoms pass. We would need to see the doctor's note that the COVID test was negative, and that kind of thing. Of course, no fever when they come back, that kind of thing. Quarantine can also happen under other occasions. So we already talked about that the cohort is your child's homeroom. So all the kids in his or her class and the homeroom teacher make up the cohort. Right now, the policy is that 2 kids have to test positive for that cohort to go into quarantine. We hear that might be changing to just 1 case. Stay tuned. But right now it's 2. So if 1 kid tests positive, we will hope that it's been contained. If 2, then the class goes into quarantine for 14 days, and that means that e-learning would begin the next day, of that, the teacher included. So learning would continue, and like I said, we've got that academic committee, and we are figuring out the best way to make it seem more like a school day. It'll look different than it did in the spring. Maybe there'd be a couple times a day that you would need to log on and hear the teaching from the teacher, and then you'd have a time apart.
No.
And you'd have
frozen on my screen.
Oh no! Am I frozen? Uh-oh. I don't know if we're having technical difficulties, but I'll continue. There would be times that your child wouldn't be, when they're in quarantine, they wouldn't be glued to a screen for 6 or 7 hours, but there would be certain times. We were just talking about lesson plans today. Back in the spring, the lesson plans were just pretty much your child should do this, this, this. This year you will see we're going to just publish teachers' lesson plans proper, which always include the standards that they're following, the procedure, the concepts. So you're going to see all that posted all the time, which is always a version I see that the teachers turn in, and then we're probably just going to highlight how the assessment, in other words, what is the homework for that day. So that would be quarantine. There have been questions about, let's see, like a specials teacher, if they get sick, they are not part of the quarantine, probably because they haven't been with that group the whole day. Of course, we would have to see if COVID spreads after a specials teacher. We'd have to make some decisions based on that case, but no. Let's see, do all the students in the cohort have to get tested? No, they just have to be quarantined, but that would be up to you. If your child, someone in your child's class has tested positive, your child and all his classmates are in quarantine, and thus suddenly your child develops a fever, then I know I would, as a parent, go get, if there's symptoms, go get the test, and see, and make sure, right? And deal with it, how to deal if it's a child is sick, or if they're not, right? Then you'll have peace of mind. The school does not pay for that. It's up to each family. I know there's testing centers throughout. Sort of wonder if, as this pandemic goes on, that if the government will change that. Maybe they will suddenly provide free tests for school kids, but right now, no. How are parents being notified of a positive test? There is pretty much a stock letter. I know someone had said, is it just one of those letters like when the kids have strep throat or pink eye? Yeah, it is kind of like that too. We will not release the child's name, but just so you'll get the letter saying that there's been a positive test or positive case in the child's homeroom. If someone in your household tests positive, then yes, your child should stay home for 14 days. And again, it would be so great, right, if we get this like Zoom approval for your child to still be able to log in a couple times a day, see what's going on in class. They'll see all their assignments, lesson plans will be online. So yeah, in that case too, if anybody's positive in your household, your child should stay home. And hopefully they won't get it, but if they do, then hopefully they are just quarantined at home without spreading it. Let's see. Substitutes. It's kind of like specials teachers. Kids are not quarantined if a substitute comes down with something, but like a specials teacher, they are to remain, 6 feet away from students as much as possible. And we will get to social distancing soon. Let's see. I think that's about it with that. Also, there is no perfect attendance award this year, so please, I really think all parents, we will all be more vigilant about keeping our children home, right? If they're sick, you don't want to send them and have them feel worse and spread germs, and you do want to, let them rest and that kind of thing. So, perfect attendance is not something we should be thinking about this year. Just wanted to add that. There was a question about stress. What is the stress going to do to our teachers? How does it affect their health and well-being and their ability to teach? I just want to reiterate, how impressed I have been getting to know this faculty over the past year and staff. They really are dedicated to this school and to your children. And they do have concerns and stress. Yes, we've had long faculty meetings via Zoom discussing all their concerns and what they want to see in place and procedures and that kind of thing. So, for all of us, it'll be trial and error, right? How is this going to affect all of us? And stress on the kids as well. We will be doing a lot of, at the beginning of the year, talking about our feelings about COVID and that kind of thing, the first couple weeks, getting used to school. We are this close to having a counselor on staff 1 day a week. We are using part of the aforementioned ESSER funds to pay for her to come. We are also this close to being part of a pilot program for the Archdiocese, sponsored by that woman, Yesenia Maldonado, who you saw in the Arch video, and her pilot program for talking about social emotional issues with the kids. So we are definitely implementing, making sure that we're trying to deal with kids with stress. We're going to be, of course, really watching for that. I'll be watching for it in my teachers as well. I mean, I do take all this to heart. I don't want anybody to be overstressed with this. I just kind of hope that after a complicated and tricky transition back to school, that eventually everybody will be used, especially the kids. Everybody will be resilient when it comes to establishing, getting used to this new norm, right? That this year everything is a little different. We have to keep our distances. We got our masks on, and we're gonna wash our hands and sanitize our hands, and it'll all be because we're trying to keep everything healthy, and people will get used to that. Hopefully, everybody will stay healthy, and stress about that will just almost become the norm of not stressful. It's just how things are this year. All right, social distancing. How are we going to guarantee social distancing? We have a lot of protocol in place with that. As I said, we are so lucky that these classrooms are big. We have moved all the bigger classes into the double rooms of the old wing. And we were able to do that. We have to be 3 to 6 feet apart in desks, and we're absolutely able to do that. And then it's a question of just training the kids. Yeah, they have to be that way in the hallway. They have to be that way at lunchtime. That kind of thing. They have to be that way outside. And it's going to be a lot of repetition at the beginning of the year, as it is, with all the routines at the beginning of the year. This is how it is. No, you cannot be that close to someone. No, I'm sorry, you cannot hug me, as with the little kids and their teachers. And it's, and a lot of that goes against, best practice, right? I mean, I know the kids want to hug Miss Martha, Miss Rattel, but they can't, right? So they will be taught that. It's repetition, it's practice. And we'll definitely be looking out for that. We have to mark all the hallways and walls and stairwells with reminders and showing what's 6 feet apart and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's mostly how we're going to do it. And we are taking this very conscientiously too. Uniform. Don't forget this year, the new uniform is in effect. So last year was kind of a transition year, but this year we do want to see you in the uniform. Remember the polos with the logo and the zip sweatshirts are available at Dennis Uniform on Higgins. We do allow you to buy pants either from there or, from Target, Kohl's, anywhere that sells uniform pants, not leggings, not jeggings, that kind of thing. And of course the skirt for the girls, they're all there. We, in the gym uniform, there's a gym uniform also for the days that they have gym. That might not be 2 days a week, just because we have to figure out the scheduling with the gym, but so they'll have their gym day to wear that, and we are leaning toward, and I said this, we would do this last year. Last year we only did one time a month where we did spirit wear. It's going to be more often. We were just talking about that at the teacher Zoom today, and we'll have final details on that, but I would say at least a few times a month that you will be able to wear the spirit wear, which we sold and will offer again in the fall, and that's also for the older kids or the teams that they're on for school. They can wear that, or if it's a non-gym day, you can wear your gym uniform. So we do still expect them to be. Masks can be any design. As we said before, they don't have to be solid or from the uniform company, although they sell them. And the solid ones at Target, I'm big on, right? Because they're only $2 each. And we're even being lenient with the shoes this year. I mean, shoes can be any color as well. So there's, ways that they can make the uniform a little bit more to their liking. Yearbook, there is still a fee for the yearbook. We will be making a yearbook. Yeah, they did one, practically a lot of it. The majority of that yearbook last year, which was beautiful, was done during distance learning. So there will still be that. Air conditioning, as I mentioned. Miss Margaret's giving me a note across the conference room here that picture day is September 22nd. Okay. Awesome. I'm not sure what day of the week that is. We don't know what day of the week, but picture day is September 22nd. Okay. All right. A little thing to keep on the calendar. Oh, we got to get our calendar out for August soon too. Air conditioning. All right. I think we're so blessed that our school is air conditioned. As you know, or maybe you don't, if you're a parent of younger grades, the old wing of this school, which is everything, from the office in one direction, not toward the activity center, is the old wing, the 80-year-old building. That has window units. And back in the fall, we actually bought a Kmart was going out of sale. So Mr. Norbert, one of our custodians, asked if he could get all these really discounted air conditioner units, and we did. So we've got air conditioning so that the big rooms will be getting 2 in each, because sometimes there was a concern that some of those really big old rooms were not cooling down enough. They will be this year. And then the new wing of the school was built in 2002, from what I understand, and that's like where the library and the art room and the science room. And last year, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, this year we're moving, because some of those rooms are smaller. It's going to be 6th, 7th, and 8th. They have central air. That whole new wing is central air, so we've got that, and that's great. But we do still have to circulate fresh air, right? We will make sure on the window units in the old wing that the damper is set so that it recirculates air from the outside. If it's not 100 degrees, we'll also have the window open a little bit. If it is a scorcher hot day, it could be when the kids are out of the room, which could happen, and for sure at night we will be airing out the classrooms as well to make sure that air is going. I did hear from Mr. Charles that the new wing, so that next year's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade rooms will be, that they actually have a mechanism that turns on about 2 hours before we come in the building, and it recirculates air. So I did not know that, but so the new wing already has that too. So we are taking precautions to make sure that air is circulating, and that's important. There's been some talk about room filters, yet the Arch is telling us that those don't necessarily do the job that they're supposed to. That it's just better to have air moving. So we're gonna make sure some rooms have ceiling fans. We can have those on, and then we'll see if we need to buy some rotating fans as well, just to make sure that air is circulating. Okay. People had asked last time about junior high classes. If you have a student in junior high, they will not be switching from room to room. Again, you're trying to stay with your cohort and you're trying to stay in one room as much as possible. So the junior high teachers, so that's your math, your ELA, your science, and your social studies, will move from room to room. And same thing with specials teachers. Miss Demera, our librarian. I have not found a new art and music teacher yet. We're not even sure if we can have full music because I'm sure you've heard there's guidelines with that. So, a religion, sister does religion for 2nd through 8th, Spanish for all grades. Those teachers will now come to your child's homeroom, and they have to stay about 6 feet apart from the rest of the group. And yeah, that's how those will work. We are still thinking about, oh, let me see, in my own notes here. Gym class is going to take place in the gym. Again, they have to maintain 6 feet apart. Mrs. Ward is well aware of this. They will keep masks on, and they are not to do anything with overexertion in that situation. We will make sure that there is good circulation in there already. We'll make sure that the system is on. They are encouraged to go outside as much as possible, and then they can take off their masks for that kind of thing. So Mrs. Ward is busy planning that sort of thing. Lunchtime. Most schools, and we still might do this, will keep lunch in their classrooms. However, again, this building is amazing with its big rooms, and when they did the addition and put on the huge activity center, we can, if we do, like 4 lunch periods, we can have kids down there in safe amounts. The kids have to be separated at their tables by 3 to 6 feet, and then they have to be 30 feet away from other cohorts, and there can only be 50 kids in the area at a time. So yeah, we can do that, and we are sort of thinking that it might be nice for them to be able to socialize in that way too. But it's still being planned. There will still be hot lunch. It will not be the cafeteria style that we've been used to, but it'll be like a prepackaged lunch that the lunch ladies will heat up, and you're welcome to bring own food also from home. So it'll look a little different, and they will bring the lunch to the kids instead of the kids going up to that counter like they did in the past. But that's a little bit about how specials, gym, lunchtime. Yeah, we talked about library. We talked about when the kids are coming in and their different doors. Hallways will be marked about, so that the kids stay distant, and one side is always going in one direction and the other side in the other. Same thing with stairwells. We do have nice wide stairwells that we could still do 2-directional, but we might be changing them to one stairwell is for one direction, another for the other. Let's see. As far as other things with the daily routine, washroom, we will probably, preschool and kindergarten have washrooms in their rooms, so that's good. 1st through 8th will probably be on we will develop a schedule. Of course, sometimes kids have to go if there's an emergency, but there will probably be 2 times a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, where let's just say 9 o'clock to 9:45, 1st grade is going to use their washroom, and then from 9:45 to 10 it gets wiped down, and then 10 to 10:45 another group comes in. We've been told by the Arch that bathrooms have to be wiped down like every 1 to 2 hours, so we're working on developing a schedule with that with our current maintenance, and possibly adding that to someone else's responsibilities as well. So that's how that goes. Railings have to be wiped down regularly too, every 1 to 2 hours. Common surfaces, there will be no drinking fountain use. In that you can't slurp out of it, but you can fill your water bottle. You have to bring a water bottle from home. Just like with school supplies, we have some leftover water bottles from our FERD run last year, so we've got that too. Yeah, so those are some things that are changing. Lunch, church. Oh, church. Okay, church. Well, we can't all meet together anymore on Fridays. So Father Torba is out of town at the moment, so we haven't finalized that with him, but I think he'll want to do where he, of course, still says the Mass on Friday. And then if you ever tuned in this summer, St. Ferd's has a really good recording system. They are able to record and even zoom in for important parts of the Mass too. What's going on. So I assume we will record, and they would show it on YouTube. So we can all tune into YouTube on Fridays. I bet we'll come up with a schedule where maybe 2 grades are down there each week, and there's plenty of room to space out those cohorts so that those kids are spaced out, and one will be in this section, 3 sections of the church. So I have a feeling it's going to look like that, where at least every week we'll be watching Mass at the same time as the school, but then, yeah, alternating which groups go down there as well. right now the chapel is not being used for anything church related, including masses. I was just in a meeting with Beata Bosek, our DRE here, and she was saying how we will do family masses again, but so far all the masses are moved to the church, which I think is very pretty and that kind of thing. So we will still do those too. Let me see. Church. Oh, infirmary. We have to develop a room that will be an infirmary. I know some of you know, if your child's been sick, there's always been a couch, like on the other side of where Miss Margaret sits in the office. There's file cabinets, and there was the sick couch. And we can't do that anymore. It's too open, to the rest of the office. So we had to designate a room. And that room will be right now where, again, we just talked about our DRE, Miss Beata Bosek, her office, kind of across the hall from us, from where Miss Margaret sits. Across the hall is our marketing director. It's kind of between Miss Patty and Miss Marta's preschools, that little hall. And then sort of behind him is Miss Beata's room, and it used to be the nurse's office years ago, and it has its own little bathroom and sink and room for a couple cots, and Miss Beata is going to be moved to another place. She is graciously going along with that too, and so we can make that a place where kids can be watched if they are waiting to be picked up. If they have a fever or other symptoms and they're waiting, they will no longer be in the office, but they will be in a place where we can watch them through the window. And right now, Mr. Chris James is there for marketing. So if he's there, if it's during his hours, then he can kind of keep an eye while he's working on the kids. If he's not, then one of our office staff can, because we can, if we're working on our laptops, we can do that in there, and there's a phone, so we can answer the phone, that type of thing, and still watch your kids, because it is built with this window between the two offices. So that's we think the best case scenario for such a place, to keep the kids until they can be picked up. Let's see. We talked about how we're gonna get a counselor. We will still use the playground, but it'll be a little different. If you come by our school at all, the little kid playground right by our main door has a sign like "Do not enter." It's roped off, and there's a big sign that's sort of blocking the whole thing. It's that nobody can use our playground, and we will keep with that as far as the public. But we will have some kind of schedule. In the past, preschool and kindergarten would be out there together every day for their playground time. It will alternate now too. So maybe one day preschool will use it, then it gets to be wiped down, and then the next day kindergarten. So it'll still be used sparingly by us here in school and not open to the public. So I know today I just got a question about that too, that people after school like to hang out on the playground. No, we really don't want to mix all your kids, even if they they love each other a lot and want to hang out there, but we just can't. All right, we have to make sure it's cleaned for each group and that sort of thing. Let's see, playground, ESSER fund. As far as, I just kind of want to mention too, with our title monies from last year, we are expecting more Chromebooks, and once those come in, hopefully by the start of the year, we basically have a one-to-one situation with the kids, 3rd through 8th with Chromebooks. And at this point, the younger grades have been sharing iPads, but hopefully we can two scenarios. We can either use some of our ESSER funds to buy more iPads to make sure they're not sharing it, or we have to just develop a schedule. Like, if one day 2nd grade is using them, then they're disinfected, and then the next day 1st grade uses them, and that's to do all the things, the math games, the iReady, we will bring back again this year. So just so you know, we're working on that, maybe getting a few more of those iPads. More Chromebooks are coming. Today you got a question, actually last week too, about the service hours. Still, we don't have a definite statement on that yet, but it really looks like there's not going to be opportunities for service hours. But, just let me get back. We will issue it in writing form or something, and it'll be, we always revise the handbook each year, so soon we'll be doing that. And you'll get details on what we decide about the service hours, and for those of you who have already paid the fee and that kind of thing. So stay tuned for that. Couple questions Miss Margaret has written for me that I guess have been submitted. Let's see. How often will the classes be sanitized? Oh, that's good. I don't even think I talked about the bathroom. I talked about the stairwells, but yeah, the classes. Okay. This was a big concern for me as well, but because there weren't specifics in the guidelines. And what the Arch has said, it's going to be up to each class. Remember I mentioned we had to buy this $4,000 box of cleaning supplies, and every teacher will get a spray bottle, and there's going to be something installed in our basement that has all the sanitizing concentrate things. And so each teacher will always have a bottle handy. And because the kids are just staying at their own desk all day, probably the best times to sanitize will be like right before lunch, after lunch, and then at the end of the day is probably what the schedule will be. But maybe teachers, if somebody's coughing, will want to do it more often than that. But it'll be a few times a day that the kids will do it, and then the teachers will probably also do like a quick, wipe down, or we just, we train the kids to make sure that they are covering, wiping down their whole desk and that sort of thing. Every night though, the classrooms are cleaned. We have a great cleaning company right now. Miss Agnieszka does a beautiful job sanitizing our offices and the classrooms, so she will be, I know, conscientious about making sure all the surroundings are clean as well. So I hope that answers that. And let's see, how will you know if 2 children test positive if not all are tested immediately after one is sent home? Okay, so I would, all right, so we have to hear two positive cases. So I guess we'll just know when that happens. And the tricky part to me about that question, which I'm hesitating on, is I am actually not sure if I know what the time period is. Like, if one kid tests one day and then the next day we hear about another positive test, of course that's 2 right there. I just wonder what the time lapse is, like if one kid tested a week and another week. So I will have to ask about that, of how often the time frame is. But it's just if there are 2 positive tests right now, that's the policy. Once we hear of 2 in a certain time frame, we will put that group into quarantine. But I think I mentioned earlier that they're thinking, I know there's a lot of thought about just changing that to 1 case and quarantine begins. So as soon as we hear more about that, if that guideline changes, we will let you guys know as well. So many things, right? I don't necessarily know what, if that'll change, right? As things in our city, in our state get better or worse. So everything I've said is as we know right now, as we know to be best practice and scientifically based right now. Okay. Ms. Margaret, was there anything else right now? Or?
Just what the specific plan for drop-off and pickup is, other than using 3 different entrances and having
Okay.
temperature checks.
All right, so the specific plan besides that? All right, you would, of course, get more details as the plan is finalized, as we get closer to the first day of school. But like last year, I think last year worked out pretty well. I was there most days with Mr. Charles at the far door, right, by the Torba Center, and people came down Mason and dropped off their kids. So it'll be along the same lines that, drop-off will still be along Mason. We just have to exercise patience. If somebody is dropping off at the first door and you're trying to get around them, just patient. The whole procedure is going to take a little longer. It just is. So maybe kind of knowing that as well. I am thinking we might open the door earlier. Last year, I think it was 7:40 was when we came outside. So probably have to look into opening a little bit earlier just to make sure that, if you need to drop off your kid a little bit earlier in this process, you will. So basically what happens, and we'll probably do a video demonstration of this as we go too. There will be the 3 doors. I'm thinking it'll be the Polish door, the main door, and then the door we always used by Torba Center. There will be an adult there with asking if your child, like we said before, were you sick? Are you sick? Have you had a cough today? Do you feel okay? Has anybody given you medicine? Quick temperature check. We have 1 touchless thermometer right now in the office, and we're getting more in that box from the Arch. I think 6 more. And so we'll do that real quick and squirt a little hand sanitizer. They clean their hands, and they head up the stairs if everything is good. And if they're not, they go to the office. We will either use our cell phones or invest in a walkie-talkie to the office knows who is coming, who needs to be directed into that infirmary right away. So I hope that answers that question. I wasn't going to stagger our arrival times, but just, We'll see. We were also planning on marking on the sidewalks that lead up to those doors where the kids need to stand to wait, especially at the beginning of the year as they get used to what this spacing is. So if you have children of different ages, they'll be coming in most likely different doors. Parents will not be allowed in the building. That's just to decrease the amount of germs that are coming in. Actually, everything this year, right? Our parent-teacher conferences, our back-to-school night, all these things will be virtual, probably a lot of Zooms, just to decrease the amount of germs. Okay, yeah. So I hope that cleared the arrival procedure as much as possible. Dismissal, we will still have out the gym doors to this point right now. We will stagger the times of dismissal. I don't have them for you yet, but we will try to make sure that preschool's out and collected, and then kindergarten, and it'll just kind of be that the older kids get dismissed the latest, so that we can't have kids gathering in the gym, with different cohorts waiting. At least we have, like last year, we blocked off that whole part of the parking lot so we can push kids out with their teacher. If they're not picked up right away, they can stand out there, still make eye contact with you, and that kind of thing. So do expect the end of the day to be staggered. If you have kids at different times, you just need to wait in your car for the other ones to come out. It can't be one of those things where, like, could I just have all my kids at one time? No, because that intermingles the different cohorts. So it'll take some adjusting. We got another question. Let's see. What if someone has already tested positive for COVID even a few weeks before school starts? Okay. All right. So if that's the case, I would hope that you would let us know that there's a child with that's sick with COVID, or if it's someone in your family that you're going to keep your child home. You might let us know, oh, it's been 10 days since there was COVID in the family. My child won't be back for another 4 days. We will appreciate that. But this doesn't affect a whole quarantine of our school because the kids haven't been together yet. So, or even of their homerooms, right? If it's before school starts, we're mostly concerned with once our kids are together. Again, that's what makes their cohort. But please, let us know if it was months ago. And I know that there were some families, they've shared with us, who has had it, if it wasn't so bad, what it was like. We've heard some stories. But if it's getting to be close to, our starting date is still Wednesday, August 19th. So if anytime suddenly in August, if someone in your family has it or one of the kids, please let us know, right? If your child won't be there for the first couple days, they will catch up. That's a good question. So thanks for submitting that. Is there anything else, Miss Margaret, at this time? I think I got everything.
There's one where,
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see, I guess. In the meantime, I'm not sure if I'll go live next week. I think there be more things to talk about in August. So like I said, I hope to do a lot of little Facebook lives when I can show you, hey, this classroom is set up, or here's the office with our plexiglass, or hey, here's Miss Margaret and I taking temperatures at the beginning of the day and what we're dressed with. We're waiting for our shields to come in and that kind of thing. I would like to show you as, teachers are coming back and decorating their classrooms. Oh, here's where 8th grade is this year. Here's our infirmary. I want to show you those things live, that's for sure. But that'll be more in August. So anyway, next week I probably won't come to you live, but if you have questions, and parents definitely have, sometimes it takes me a couple days to get back. I'm sorry. People are asking really good questions and I want to answer them thoroughly, and I strive to do that. But just sometimes it just takes me a couple days, only because there's a lot of training and so many pieces of the puzzle that have to be worked on here all the time. But I'm happy to do it. I really do think we're working as best we can. I do believe that. I would send my own children here knowing everything that we are doing and all that the teachers are doing. It's a great faculty and staff. So send me emails. I'll get back to you as soon as I can with those. You can always try to call me here. I'm in a lot of meetings, but just so you know, our school office hours in the summer are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 a.m. to noon. because in case you work, we're hoping that early hour helps you, to come in. And Wednesdays, we're here from 1 to 6. Again, trying to get people after work, that kind of thing. Don't forget, you've got parent packets that you received at your book, at your supply pickup day. Don't forget to fill those out. I think tomorrow I'm going to come in live just to introduce someone to all of you, but that'll be in the morning, and I'll show the packet. Don't forget about that, and don't forget, too, if your kids are getting bored with summer, we got the math and reading log here that they can be doing. They get prizes for this. I know I'm behind on getting out prizes for all the kids that had sent in jokes when we were in quarantine, and I will get on top of that. So please continue, to do those, and mostly to stay healthy and safe. Miss Margaret?
Early dismissal is 11:30 for a half day.
Was that a question?
Yeah,
Okay.
when is
Let's see. Early dismissal, yes, like the first day of school?
Yeah.
The first day of school is a half day on Wednesday the 19th, and yes, that is 11:30. Yeah, with no lunches served. We don't have a lot of other half days, mostly just the first and the last day, right? So,
And then
Yeah.
one more question.
okay.
Since COVID doesn't,
One more question.
it's not always the case that COVID always presents with a temperature, how could we are concerned about the system being effective.
Okay. So, yeah, right. The question was, since the fever is not the only symptom of COVID, there's also like the cough, the possible diarrhea, right? Headache, that kind of thing. Usually the rule is, and I believe it was in our parent handout too that came, if there's 3 symptoms that blend to that, then that's when your child would go home. And that's honestly what the office is looking for too. If your kid, we are asking them as soon as they come in, do you feel okay? If they right away say to us or to their teacher later in the day, my head is killing me, my throat hurts, I was just in the bathroom, not a good situation, we're going to take all that into account, and we will probably ask you to come and pick up your child, even if there's not a fever. We do that normally too, right? If there's some of you have had your kids come with headaches, or they just, I don't feel right, I need to go home, and a lot of you, come and get them. And let them rest. And I think we all need to be more watchful of that. You know your kids. We know them too. Especially when we get the unusual kid or it comes down, I'm just not feeling right, and they never miss school. Or, the kids that are very sensitive, right, to not feeling good. We will always err on the side of caution and send them home. And that would be up to you then, if you're going to get them the COVID test or take it to the doctor and see how things are. It is one of those things, like if we send them home thinking that there's COVID, we do need a doctor's note either saying nope, or that we see the test, positive or negative type of thing. So, that's true. This virus is ridiculous, right? Like how tricky it is and how it presents so differently in everyone. So, we're just going to be watchful, and more than likely your child will go home with other kinds of symptoms too. Anything else, Miss Margaret? Okay. All right, it appears that is all for now. I hope I've covered everything. Again, email me, efolino@stferdinand.org. Call the school. Too, I'll try to talk to you. If I'm not in a meeting, I'm open to during school hours. Just be patient with giving me a couple days to get back to you. And let's just continue to pray that everybody remains healthy and safe. And I look forward to showing you all the things in the school as we continue to work to make this a nice, safe place for all the kids to return. And to talk to you about e-learning as we hear the final information about that from the Arch, and if there's a way for us to Zoom as well. All right, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. All right, enjoy your summer. We'll talk to you soon.
Hi everyone, just saving the video.